Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Sterling Heights City Council to order. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for our invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do what is right for all citizens.
Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Riska. Can we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Taylor?
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski? Mrs. Koski?
Present.
Mr. Radke?
Present.
Mrs. Schmidt?
Present.
Mr. Yanes?
Here.
Mrs. Yarko?
Present.
Thank you, Council. We need approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Koski.
move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Been moved and supported. No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. As you can see, Ms. Sarowski is not here tonight. She has to ask me to pass on her regrets. She's sorry she could not be here. She will be watching and will be back for the next city council meeting. So as always, the first item on our agenda tonight is a report from our city manager. We have a great report. We've got some important guests in the audience tonight that I'm sure will be introduced. So Mr. Vanderpool, your report.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Let me start out with a housekeeping item. Please be reminded that refuse collection is delayed one day this week. I mainly say that for myself because invariably I forget. So if you're scheduled for tonight, don't set it out tonight. Everything's delayed one day, so Friday collection will be done on Saturday. And Mayor, as you mentioned, we have a really exciting presentation this evening to highlight really a showcase model program that we have in Sterling Heights and that we've been able to get implemented with the help of a lot of really important, influential individuals that are here this evening. And we're going to start with our police chief, Dale Wojciechowski, who's going to kick this off for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vanderpool. Mayor Taylor, members of council, it is a great night to talk about a new program called Redirect. And with me, we have the Executive Director of FAN, Linda Davis, and Macomb County's Prosecutor, Pete Lucido, and Lieutenant Bastinelli, who runs the new Redirect program. And I thought it was important because we are on the heels now of almost a year with this brand new program to cover not only the partnership we have with the Prosecutor's Office FAN, and it goes with many other partnerships we've had throughout the years, but this program in particular, Redirect, is a diversion program. So in law enforcement, we started seeing problems. We arrest somebody for possession of narcotics or drug paraphernalia or a retail fraud, shoplifting. We arrest them, they go to the county jail. They oftentimes get released on personal bond, no bond at all. Oftentimes the bad guy, the prisoner, is released before the officer is done with the police report. So then we started talking about this and saying, is this the best use of resources? Because if the person has a substance use disorder, if they're a user of any type of alcohol, pills, any kind of substance use issues, that person needs treatment. They don't need to go to the county jail for one day. So we were kind of missing the boat, and that's what diversion programs do. So Redirect is on these shoplifting cases, drug possession, minor drug possession, not distribution, that at that scene, if we believe that person has a problem, substance use disorder issue, we refer them to the Redirect program. We give them a card. We tell them they have to make contact within a week. They have to work within the program guidelines. They cannot reoffend. They have to stay sober. They have to meet the monthly meetings. And if they successfully do what they said they were going to do, it's a win for society. It's a win for Sterling Heights. It's a win for the prosecutor's office, Families Against Narcotics, because you have someone that no longer uses narcotics. They're not offending and committing crimes, and the charge will actually be dismissed by the prosecutor's office. So it truly is a team work approach between the police department, Families Against Narcotics, who provides all the back end, all the counselors, and all the services, and then Pete Lucido's office for taking care of a lot of the scheduling, has a special prosecutor dedicated to this. So we're so excited about the partnership. But a little breakdown about Redirect. We've been up and running now almost a year. We started October of last year. 37 people entered the Redirect program since October of last year. 26 are still in the program. So 70% of the people that we arrested for something, but we didn't take them to jail, are still making their appointments. They're still sticking with the program. What the goal is to get them into recovery. which we are. And so that's a 70% success rate. And since we've started this program, Macomb County Sheriff's Department, Clinton Township, Centerline are all working to start their own redirect program. So we're very, very happy with how we've worked this out. So again, we started back in well, a little bit of breakdown. That's redirect on the heels of QRT, which you guys know as council members, you were all there for the big press kickoff with Judge Davis. We started the QRT program back when the pandemic hit, February of 2020. We went live. We're the first department in the state. And QRT is a little different program, making house calls. After someone overdoses, within a few days, having a police officer, a family recovery coach, and a peer recovery coach show up and get that person help, treatment, and support. That program has been unbelievably successful from that small little start back in 2020 to where we're at now. Some overview. 1,200 homes have been visited in Sterling Heights, 1,200 individual house calls made by our officers and the coaches from Families Against Narcotics. Over the last overdoses in Sterling Heights just last year have decreased by 30%. The program has been extended to 23 other agencies throughout the state of Michigan. And overall in the state of Michigan, 5,500 houses have been visited to give people help, treatment, and support. So with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Prosecutor Pete Lucido for his input on the program.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Linda. I will appreciate coming this evening and seeing some familiar faces, which is great. I found that over my career in law enforcement, or better yet, in just the criminal justice system as a prior probation officer, parole officer, public defender, and private attorney doing criminal work, then finding myself behind the desk of the prosecutor's office, what metrics did we use to see if we made any progress on the outcomes? Probably not very good metrics. We spent a heck of a lot of money incarcerating people without the results. So it's a blessing we have the godmother of the streets, Linda Davis, helping everybody out. Because what we do is we would rather get somebody help instead of incarcerating. Is that really working? And then to find out that the outcome is just the same, if not worse. They get deeper and deeper into their own problems. Finding people that are peer coaches to give them support is a lot better than jailing a problem of drugs. So this is a program, and I got to tell you, the leadership of your chief, not too many people want to step up and be the first in the pool because you don't know how deep it is or how far you're going to go down. But in this case here, it's a success. And I'm very proud of the fact that the chief stood up, as well as Linda getting the grant funding, as well as engagement of a partnership with a good person that has known each other for a lot of years. So God bless the ones that take the initiative to help those that may not can help themselves. Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank you for having me here as well. And I really want to say how important it is to have trusting partners. Whenever we're starting a new program, we always know that Sterling Heights is going to be a progressive year and wants to do the right thing. And hats off to both of you for being so willing to try something new and step outside the box. And for Pete as well. He's one of the only prosecutors in the state that is doing a program of diversion, a true diversion program like this, and really has not balked at anything we've asked him to do. So partnerships like that are what make the program work. I never can speak without trying to educate my audience a little bit. And so I'm not going to talk so much about the program, but what we've asked police officers, prosecutors, and judges, myself, to do was to be uneducated social workers that were making decisions about people's lives without understanding the disease that they were dealing with and what works and what doesn't work. We've provided a system of care for individuals that have substance use problems that are one-and-done programs. We send them to treatment, they come out, they fail. But I want to make a clear point about this. It's not them that's failing, it's the system of care that fails. Because we know from the work that we've done through programs like QRT, Hope Not Handcuffs, and now the Redirect program, that if you provide a continuum of care for people and you meet them where they're at and you provide a gamut of services to address their special needs, whether it's housing, food insecurities, whatever the problem might be that's keeping them locked in that spot, and then you provide treatment that doesn't last for just 30 days, but it is a continuum of care for, in this program, up to 18 months, that you start seeing 70% results from individuals that enter into these programs. It takes a lot to change that stigma of addiction. I can speak to that myself. Until I was hit with a family member that suffered from addiction, I had no desire to learn about addiction. I just thought they were bad people doing bad things. And I learned differently. And that's what this is all about, is if we can change one mind a day and make people realize that these are good people with a very serious health problem, then we begin to change a system of care and really deal with this problem at the heart of it, and that's providing treatment rather than incarceration. So hats off to all of you for being so open-minded. We hope you will keep us in mind when you are deciding how to spend your opiate dollars, and that we can expand this program even further to do great things in the city of Sterling Heights. Thank you so much.
Awesome, great, thank you, Linda. As she talks about stigma, all of our officers went through stigma training here at the police department, which is so important because, as she said, as a police officer, started in the 90s, it was a drug user. He was, this person, he was a drug addict. He's hooked on drugs. He's a junkie. This is the nomenclature that I used when I started off. And now we're trying to train our young officers that this person has a disease. No one chooses to use heroin every day. They don't. They're addicted to heroin. So you have to get them off of the drug. So a lot goes into the stigma training with our officers, especially the young officers. And we've done that. We've done the training, and I think it's an important message to get out there. But with that being said, we have a couple other guests tonight. Could I have Amber and Crystal both come on up here? Amber and Crystal are our two very first success stories. So I just want to give them a round of applause. Amber and Crystal were one of our first two people that come into the redirect program, this diversion program, given the chance to not have criminal charges, to get help, treatment, and support for substance use disorder issues, and they have passed, they have graduated, we dismissed the charges. We are so, so happy. So you're looking at examples of what progress and what success looks like. And with that, I'd like them, well, number one, I have a gift for you. But first, Amber, if you want to say something really quickly to council here about the program?
Well, I kind of wrote it down a little bit. I didn't want to miss anything. I put on the 3rd of November, I had interaction with Sterling Heights Police Department for possession of a controlled substance, which resulted in referred to the redirect program on 11/22/22, sorry. Before I was admitted into the redirect program, I was squatting in an apartment in Inkster, which had no electricity, no heat in the middle of winter. After I was admitted into the redirect program, I entered inpatient treatment at Home of New Vision for a 28-day program, which I completed. March 6th is when I was released from that program. I lived in transitional for 2 weeks. Then I came home to move in with my mother. I have been sober since January 24th of 2023. I work full-time as a supervisor for an air duct cleaning business. I got my warrants and cleared up my license, or got my license reinstated. I completed the redirect program on 7/28/23. I attend meetings, I do service work, I have a sponsor, I work with my peer recovery coach from FAM. I reconnected with my family, which was really important to me. And I just want to say thank you to Sterling Heights Police, and thank you to the redirect program at FAM.
Hi, I'm Crystal. I was referred to the redirect program back in November of 2022 after an interaction with the Sterling Heights Police. Shortly after that, I was able to get into Turning Point. And then in January, I actually got the opportunity to go to Live Right. When I was there, my first 2 weeks out, I got a job at Metro by T-Mobile, where 3 months ago, I reached a assistant store manager. And then during this time, I was able to complete my GED, my CPRC, and I'm also a case manager for Motor City Mid-Mission. And a lot of stuff that this program has allowed me to do is reach some of the goals that I couldn't before because of homelessness and active addiction. Now I actually get to spend time with my friends, my family, and my son. And I will be getting my driver's license back next month. So I want to say thank you to FAN, first and foremost, and the Sterling Heights Police Department.
Good job.
All right, Amber and Crystal, we have something for you. A Sterling Heights Police badge with one of our challenge coins. I want you to hang this somewhere prominently in your house so you remember a good interaction, because a lot of times when people meet the police, it's usually not for the best of reasons, but in this case, it sounds like it turned a life around, and that's what we're hoping, that your life is truly turned around. It sounds like it is. So I'd like to present both of you with one of our keepsakes here, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Thank you.
You know, they call these challenge coins for a reason, because it was a challenge in your life. But you've overcome that challenge, and we're very proud of you. The community should look to you as leaders also, because your example setting for others is going to be hope that they'll always have a chance. Couple challenge coins from the prosecutor's office that we didn't have to prosecute, and that we're going to go ahead and have a life now that's full of happiness and love.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I could have the whole team up here as part of redirect, could we get one picture, council, just in front of with you guys as the backdrop? Is that okay?
Yeah, we stay
Awesome.
here.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. If you guys want to
Okay.
stand, and we can stand right in front of you for a picture.
You got
Be
it.
awesome. Thank you so much. You guys want to stand over here?
You guys stay seated, please. Stand up. You get up, too. Get up. Come on, stand up.
Let's move our chairs back and get in.
You scoot in.
We can scoot in.
Good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Jill, are we all set?
Anything else? Can we, so I'll take it over for a second, if that's okay. You guys are done with your presentation. So I do want to open it up before Mr. Vanderpool continues, in case there's anybody on council who has any comments or questions about the program or anything that they want to say. Council, anybody? Mrs. Zarco?
Oh, I'll start it off. Working with Judge Davis over the years with all of the programs that she's initiated to bring to us and say, hey, you want to try these out? And then I'm so glad that our chief is willing to try them. But this tells me that life is full of second chances, and that's what we're doing. And I know that you appreciate this, Amber and Crystal, because it does give you a second chance. There's times in your life that you think that things are unsurmountable, and then you find somebody that gives you a helping hand, and you're going to remember that forever, and you know what it means to have that helping hand. So good luck to you in the future. Come on to Sterling Heights anytime you want. But I'm grateful that you're here and grateful that you have achieved the successes that you set out to do. But you answered my questions about this, because at first I thought it was the 37 that were in the program were they actually just residents of Sterling Heights, but they were just 37 people that interacted with the police department, so they could be anywhere in the county. So I really appreciate that, and I hope other cities will continue to do the same thing and honor these people for the time that they put into this rehabilitation and knowing that they appreciate their second chance. So nothing further.
Thank you, Mrs. Zarco. Council, Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank you all for being here. Ladies, you've done tremendous work, and I hope you continue it. I just wanted to point out this is an excellent example of the innovative work the Sterling Heights Police Department is doing. Hope, Not Handcuffs, and now the Redirect program has really, I think, you've taken on a social justice mission where you're trying to help people instead of putting them in jail, and I think that should be commended. I think it's reorientating how the residents view us, because they see you as a helping hand. So thank you for the work you do, and let's continue it.
Thank you, Mr. Radke. Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I would also like to thank all of you. Judge Davis, you seem to be the most tireless person I've ever met. You are in the thick of all of this and have been for many, many years, and I know your story and can appreciate why you're doing this. It's so important. Ladies, thank you for sharing your story. It took great courage to get up, and I know every day is a new day, and every day, you take that step forward. And congratulations. Chief, I think we need to be commended because this shows that it doesn't matter where you're from, Sterling Heights cares about you. We had, contact with individuals who have issues, and they're not just Sterling Heights residents. We care about everybody, and we want every community to branch off from this. So thank you, Chief, and that's all. Congratulations, ladies.
Mrs. Koski.
I also would like to say congratulations, Chief, and Cito and Judge Davis. You're doing a fantastic job. It's really difficult to do a program like this, but it shows the young people that you brought today what a difference it's made in their lives. And out of the 37, I'm sure that you're going to increase that because it hasn't even been a year. So you're doing a wonderful job, well appreciated, and I think you have the answer that we've been looking for. So thank you very, very much, and keep up the good work, and let us know if there's anything that we can do to assist you.
Thank you, Mrs. Koski. Mr. Yanez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So first I want to say thank you to Judge Davis for all the work you've done. I know you don't know me, but I know you very well. And you've worked tirelessly with FAN and the network. And Chief, congratulations to you and your team for doing this. And Prosecutor, I almost called you Senator Lucido, but Prosecutor Lucido. And listen, I will tell you this, and ladies, congratulations. I don't know what your story is, how long you were in the process of substance use disorder, and thank you, Chief, for using those words instead of saying drug addiction, because this is a disease, substance use disorder. But, people over a period of time throughout this country have used drug addiction, substance use disorder as a way to generate money for themselves, where you go into treatment, and then after treatment, you go into some housing, you fall off the wagon, and in some cases down in Florida, they were even putting people in to help you fall off the wagon, so you had to go through the whole thing again and keep paying and paying and paying. And it really takes forward-thinking leaders like yourselves to come up with a program like this to actually help people. And this is the thing that we need from all our leaders, whether you're standing over here or sitting behind here, whether you're in Lansing or Washington or anywhere else, because it really is about making people better and bringing families back together and making these folks productive members of society who pay the taxes that pay for the police chief. So I just want to say, thank you for your efforts. Getting back together with your families and making yourselves role models for others who will follow in your footsteps. And I want to say thank you to you for being forward-thinking leaders and helping putting people back on the streets and putting them back together with their families and not just locking them up and walking away. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Council. Thank you very much, Mr. Yanez. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations to the two of you. And not just congratulations, but thank you for being here. This has got to be pretty difficult to do. You come in here and you talk about, I think what you say, an interaction with the police, and that's a gentle way of saying, you probably got arrested. You went through a traumatic thing. You went through something that's most people aren't going to go out and broadcast. And so I'm not saying this, obviously, I'm not saying this to embarrass you. I'm saying it, I'm proud of you that you would come here and share that experience, because the only reason you would do that is not because you get any benefit out of it personally, but because you're trying to help other people that might be going through the same struggle that you did before. So I got to tell you, that's an incredibly selfless act, and I thank you for being here and doing that. And I hope that there's, I'll be honest, we don't get a whole lot of people that watch the city council meetings, but sometimes these get picked up by, like the news, and sometimes this story gets shared on social media, and I hope it will. And I hope it will, and I hope that, that you'll inspire some other people like you've clearly inspired my colleagues on the city council tonight. So good job, and thank you. To the three, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to acknowledge the mom that's here, too, and I think you can see that she's been pretty teary-eyed through the whole thing. We oftentimes forget the effect that this has on family, and we also, just for the few viewers that you do have, that if you are a family that's suffering from this, we have an array of opportunities for family members to get the help that they need as well. So thank you for being here and supporting your daughter.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because thankfully, I don't have any issues to talk about with my family, but, like any other parent, I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and like, I'm in over my head, and I don't know what I'm doing on basic stuff, you know what I mean? And so what you said earlier today or tonight is that, we've got police officers, we've got a former judge, and we've got a prosecutor. And these are the people that you kind of expect are going to be tough on crime, no nonsense. You did something wrong, you arrest them, you prosecute them, you lock them up, right? And that's not working. But that's the only, to a nail, to a hammer, everything is a nail, right? And if that's the only thing you know, and that's the only thing you've been taught, then why should we expect anything differently? We shouldn't expect this. We should not expect the three of you to be coming here creating a program like this, which I think speaks incredibly voluminous about your character and about your willingness to try something different. So I don't take it for granted, because it's when we met all those years ago, and you started talking to our chief and talking to me and our team about the quick response team, it all seemed to make perfect sense. And I thought, well, what's the hitch? Why are you guys like crossing your fingers and holding your breath? Why wouldn't we do this? And the reality is, a lot of other cities didn't. They waited to see what the city of Sterling Heights did. We set the right example. We did it, and now we've got dozens of others. And that's, Mario, you're kind of hiding, but Mario, you deserve a lot of credit for that program, this program too. I just think it's phenomenal work that you did, that you didn't have to do this. None of the three of you had to do this. And the fact that you did means a lot, not just to us, but to our whole community. And I'm proud of the colleagues that I have on city council and in city administration that were willing to take risks and try things to improve the lives of the people that we serve. So just like you guys had to learn, what do we do to help people? I mean, families, like you said, are really not well equipped to deal with these sort of major issues. But that's where Families Against Narcotics comes in and helps the families and does all that tremendous work. So I'll shut up. I've said enough. You guys are the real people to celebrate today. So thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for presenting it to us. Mr. Prosecutor Pete Lucido, thank you for telling me that this is the best council chambers in all of Macomb County.
This is the real deal here.
Thank you. We do appreciate it. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody who presented tonight and all the great work. Thank you so much. Mr. Vanderpool.
Mayor, nothing else could possibly top that presentation, so I am finished. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then we will move on to the next item on our agenda tonight, which is to consider adoption of ordinances amending the City Code of Ordinances and zoning ordinance number 278 to update standards for installation of driveways and establish standards for coverage of single-family residential front yards with impervious material respectively. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolve to adopt the ordinance amending Article 5 of Chapter 48 of the City Code of Ordinances to regulate the use of paving materials for driveways, extension strips, service walks, and approaches on single-family residential lots.
Support. Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion, Mr. Radke?
Briefly, Mr. Mayor, I think this is a very good compromise. I'm happy to vote for it. The one thing I'd like to see is the trees added back in, but I guess we're going to cover that in something else. So I'm comfortable moving forward with this today. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We do have a second suggested action under this agenda item. Mr. Radke?
Sure. Resolve to adopt the ordinance amending Section 3101 of Article 31 and Section 3.04 of Article 3 of zoning ordinance 278 to regulate single-family residential lot front yard coverage with impervious materials.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda tonight is an ordinance adoption. This is to consider adoption of a map amendment to zoning ordinance number 278 to conventionally rezone property situated on the south side of 18.5 Mile Road, east of Mound Road, from M1 Light Industrial to M2 Heavy Industrial, case PZ 23-0004, 23-0005, and 23-0006. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko.
Resolve to adopt the map amendment to zoning ordinance number 278 to conventionally rezone the property situated on the south side of 18.5 Mile Road, east of Mound Road, from M1 Light Industrial District to M2 Heavy Industrial District, case PZ 23-0004 and 23-005 and 23-0006.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Zarko.
I think we discussed this at length at our last meeting, and nothing's changed, so just want to move forward.
Okay. Council, anyone else? With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up on our agenda tonight is our consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Koski.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. With no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is a consideration item. This is to consider a request to transfer ownership of a 2023 Class C liquor license with Sunday sales permit, 2 bars, and a new Sunday sales permit from CTS Enterprises Incorporated to Sterling Restaurant Management Incorporated. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, would you like to come up, sir? Why don't you come up, yeah, come on up. I'll tell you, it's better to at least, stand up, wave a hand and say, hey, I'm here to answer any questions.
I'm here to answer any questions.
You got it. Okay, thank you. As much as you might think, well, why'd you make me do that? Believe me, it's going to be good for you.
What's your name, sir?
Omar Amore.
Okay. Yeah, then have a seat. We'll see what the audience says. We'll deliberate a little bit. And if we do have any questions, we'll give you a shout to come back up. Okay? Thank you, sir. All right, anyone else? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko.
Resolve that the request to transfer ownership of the 2023 Class C liquor license with Sunday sales permit PM, 2 bars, and the new Sunday sales permit AM from CTS Enterprises Incorporated to Sterling Restaurant Management Incorporated to be considered for approval.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
I'm going to ask Mr. Amore if he wants to come and explain the way I read that is you are buying the assets of Fuddruckers, correct? The business will say exactly as it is, but you need to transfer the license, correct? Okay. Has this transfer through the chair to Mr. Amore?
Come on up, sir, if you don't
Now I
mind.
got a question.
Nobody can hear you at home from back there, so.
It's an easy one. Has your application already been approved by the state?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, and it's just a formality that you're coming here and telling us that you've already applied to the state, they've approved it, and you're moving on from there?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congrats. Good luck. Next up tonight is our boards and commission appointments. So this is to consider appointments to the City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item? If not, okay, council, we have for the appointment portion, a number of openings on the Youth Advisory Board and the Sustainability Commission. We can take the Youth Advisory Board first. They are all city council appointments to terms ending June 30th, 2024. Is there anyone who'd like to make one or more appointments?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
without objection, I'll make all the appointments in the recommended packet.
Okay?
Resolve to appoint Yusuf Adnan, Lauren Sanchez, Tanisha Munum, Jacob Thomas, Sunya Jabin, and Kyla Beauchamp to the Youth Advisory Board to terms ending June 30th, 2024, subject to the appointees meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subsection 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion, Mr. Radke?
Just briefly, I'm very impressed by the credentials of the people applying. I think they're going to make a great contribution to the city.
I do too. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So that was 6. How many do we have, Mr. Koszybski?
11.
We have 11. So we'll pass on the other 5 for right now, unless there's any other appointments. If not, we have 4 new members to the Sustainability Commission. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion or a appointment? Here we have, so there's 2 that are going to be expiring on June 30th, 2024, 1 June 30, 2025, and 1 June 30, 2026. Councilor, is there anyone that would like to make an appointment here?
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt, yes, Mrs. Schmidt.
shall I make all 4, or?
Whatever would be your pleasure.
Okay, well, I'll do the 2 that have the same expiration date first. Resolve to appoint Nikita Jones and Victoria Carlino to the Sustainability Commission to a term ending June 30th, 2024, subject to the appointees meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
These residents have been spoken to and are very excited about serving on this commission, so I think that'd be a great addition.
Okay, council, anyone else? With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That leaves 2 additional openings. I believe we have the 2025 and 2026.
Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry.
Mrs. Schmidt, do you have another one?
I do. Resolve to appoint Cheryl Burns to the Sustainability Commission to a term ending June 30th, 2026. Subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
Mayor Taylor, I've spoken with Mrs. Burns. She actually has spoken to a few of the Sustainability Commission, is extremely proactive and excited about serving on this board. So I think she's currently on the Beautification Commission. I think she'll be a great asset.
Okay, council, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Radke.
I believe Ms. Burns would be great. I guess my concerns are we've identified some other candidates who have experience in scientific backgrounds, which I think might be more appropriate for this board. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, council, anyone else? With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I think we've got 6 yeses. Do we have 6 yeses? Do I need to take a roll call vote? I think we got 6 yeses. It passes 6-0. Thank you. So we do have 1 left. This is the June 30th, 2025. Is there a council member who'd like to make that appointment?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Radke.
Resolve to appoint Matthew Smith to the Sustainability Commission to a term ending June 30th, 2026. So that the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subsection 4.03, taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported, but we already appointed to the 2026.
Oh,
So
we did.
Mrs. Schmidt
25.
made the last appointment to 2026. So can we just have him clarify that we're going to make the appointment to 2025?
Sure.
And that's clear and understood, council. So the
Thank you.
motion is for,
Term 2025.
and is it Matthew Smith to be expiring June 30th, 2025. Any discussion, Mr. Radke?
Mr. Smith is a chemist. He's come before us multiple times at this body. I think he'll make a great addition to the board.
Okay, council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So that concludes that board and commission agenda item. Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Koszybski. So we do have 5 youth advisory board openings. We don't have anybody from that board. What, should we just postpone it, you think, to the next city council meeting, or?
Mayor Taylor?
Yeah, we could do October 17th, which is gonna give them several weeks to find.
I was just going to suggest, since school just started, maybe
Yeah.
the schools can start recruiting.
So October 17th would be the second meeting in October. I would entertain a motion to postpone the 5 vacancies on the Youth Advisory Board to the October 17th, 2023 City Council meeting.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported.
16th, sorry.
16th. Oh, yeah, so just to be clear.
Just moved it.
We moved it to the 16th as of like 4 or 5 minutes ago. So it'll be the 16th. It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So now we will move on to the next, which is a consideration for a nomination to a board or commission. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, council, this is a Board of Ordinance Appeal 2 opening. This is a city council appointment to a partial term ending June 30th, 2025. Is there anyone who'd like to make this nomination? Going once, going twice. Okay, I would entertain a motion to postpone to, let's say, the first meeting in October for this one.
So moved.
Well,
Support. It's been moved and supported. This is a non-debatable motion, since it is a motion to postpone to October 3rd, 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
no,
Motion carries 5-1. Sorry about that, Mike.
the board won't meet again until next year if you appoint in October.
Well, what do we have to do then? We can appoint, so, I guess I don't understand.
Is it a quorum issue?
There's a quorum issue. I talked to him today, the quorum issue, and then on top of the quorum issue is that the board goes vacant, goes dormant in October, and starts up again in like April of the following
Okay,
year.
and do they have an agenda that they need to pass?
That's pretty much what was explained to me today.
Can we withdraw that then? Can we withdraw the motion to postpone, and can we?
So, yeah, the winning side could make a motion for reconsideration to not postpone it and to take the item up right now.
The winning side has to
Okay, would you, Mrs. Azarko, would you consider,
reconsider.
would you consider reconsidering?
I'll withdraw my motion. Is that?
Do we have to move to reconsider?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move to reconsider. Okay. I'll move to reconsider.
Support. It's been moved and supported, with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 6-0 passes. So now we'll go back. The motion is there a motion to postpone? Well, first of all, is there a motion to make a
Appoint.
nomination?
I will nominate, Mr. Mayor. Move to nominate Michael Bargowski to fill the partial term ending 6/30/2025, or, yeah, at the September 19th, 2023 city council meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
To continue what we were saying, I spoke with the city administration today, and they said that there's a quorum issue, and that there are cases that are pending, and the board goes dormant in October.
Okay.
I guess this will be fixed next year, I guess, according to the administration, with some new candidates, because the one concern I have, and why I spoke with city administration, was this makes a board of all men. There would be no female members of this board, but the issue is that the former member, we won't go there, that person left, and now we have no vacancy, and the board has not been getting its work done.
Understood. Mrs. Zarko.
Okay, I understand, is it, Mr. Bargowski right now is an alternate, so that moves him up to a full-time position?
Yes.
So we'll still be looking for an alternate position, which we could do at the first meeting in October, correct?
Yes.
Which we'll
Okay.
bring back, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? With no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Radke. That was very helpful. Okay, so that is going to complete that portion of our agenda. And we'll go on to communications from citizens. So is there anyone who would like to speak on any item not on tonight's agenda? Come on up, sir. The floor is yours. We have 4-minute time limit, so you'll see there's the lights up there will go green, yellow, and then red. When your time's up, I just ask if you're still talking and just try to wrap it up. Okay? All right, sir. Floor is yours.
After listening to the agenda, it was very, very good about the, working with the narcotics. I really enjoyed that. But anyway, my product might be a little bit smaller than that, but my name is Don Young, and I'm 91 years old.
Mr. Young, do you
Yes.
mind moving the microphone over to a little bit closer to your mouth? Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, my name is Don Young. I'm 91 years old. My wife is just turned 87 last Saturday. We've been married 68 years. Wow. We've been living in Sterling Heights since 1973. All our 5 kids all graduated from Stevenson. But about 2 years ago, we were living in a 2-story house. My wife had problems getting up and down the stairs, so we decided to look into some single floor, and we picked Plumbrook over independent living on Plumbrook, right near between 17 and Van Dyke. It's an independent living, even though it's in your document here, they talk about having doctors on charge. We have no doctors. We pay for our own hospitalization. We pay one fee a month that covers our meals and laundry, and housekeeping, things like that. Anything that's personal, we pay for. So to me, it's the same as if when we had the house. We had to pay for everything then. So anyway, people had a resolution here about picking up, when people have to come to the house, we called 911 because my wife had fallen, just slipped out of bed, landed on her knees, she couldn't get up. And she's maybe 30 pounds heavier than I am, so I couldn't pick her up. So they called 911 and fire department came over, which is just around the corner from us. And 2 nice guys lifted her up, and I bet you it was maybe from the time the call went in, maybe a little over a half hour, they were all through. And because she wasn't hurt, now the resolution you have, it's cost us $800 just to be picked up. And I'm seems quite high for seniors. And I was kind of wondering, because we're independent living, and everybody who has a house is independent living, are those people going to be charged the same thing as we are? Like I say, that's about it. We wondered about that. And I don't know how they came upon the $800. I know that according to what I read, they're figuring the price of gasoline and wear and tear in their vehicles and things like that. So, but, seems pretty steep. I wonder how the average citizen could be. Twice a year for 48 years, I went down to City Hall and paid my taxes. Could I charge driving down when Dodge Park was bumpy for wear and tear in the car and gasoline? What are they doing? Same thing. But that's just my point of view with it. It's independent living, and it's no different than when we had the house. We had to pay for all our stuff. So if you could, cut the price down a little bit, a couple $100 would be fine. We could afford that, I'm sure, but 800 is pretty steep. So anyway, that's my spiel. Okay, thank you.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Anyone else under communications from citizens?
I see the timer set, 4 minutes. Away we go. You all know me. I'm Ray Nadolski, and I'm with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Sterling Heights. As you drive down 18 Mile Road, past the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, you probably see a little party store there, Pinebrook Plaza. Way in the back is the VFW and American Legion post back there. So we occupy 1,200 square feet back there. What I'm trying to find out, I don't come before council saying, gee, will you help us put a flagpole up there? But if you have any connections with any of the contractors that we do business with in the city, specifically defense contractors, I got a quote today from Rocket Enterprise to put a flagpole in front of that building. The landlord said we could do it. It's about $2,100. So if you know of somebody that would be willing to help us out with that, we'd appreciate it, because $2,100 is a lot of charity poker on our behalf. The other item I have to cover is, I just drove by the flagpoles a few minutes ago on my way in. I noticed the POW MIA flag, which looks a lot like my hat. It looks a little tattered, so if there's any way that the city could replace that, because POW MIA Day is coming up a week from Friday. We honor the 1,500 souls that are still missing from the Vietnam War, the 8,000 from Korea, 30,000 from World War II, and 6 from the global war on terrorism. So we've got a lot of people out there unaccounted for, and that's why we do the ceremony every year at Resurrection Cemetery. So that's my spiel in under 2 minutes. Thank you very much for your time.
Good job. Thank you, Ray. We will see what we can do. I think all of us on council should see what connections we have to help out. Anybody else under communications from citizens? If not, I'll close that portion and go on to reports from city administration. Anything to respond to tonight, Mr. Vanderpool? Or any
Thank you,
reports?
Mayor. I'd be happy to respond to Mr. Young and give just a brief summary of why we have the lift assist ordinance in place. Just by way of background, many of you may know our 5 fire stations are very, very busy. They are making about 16,000 emergency medical response runs every year, and the number's growing exponentially. And they respond to these runs in very expensive apparatus, ambulances that cost $150,000, ever increasing close to $200,000 now. Fire engines that now cost almost $700,000. And in some cases, our ladder truck, which is over $1.2 million. All this apparatus is being used for EMS runs, because that's primarily what our firefighters and paramedics are doing. They are doing 90% of their workload is EMS runs, and a disproportionate share of the EMS runs occur at assisted living, senior facilities, and in many cases, independent living facilities, in which there is a significant number of seniors, which is the case, and God bless you, you certainly don't look 91 years old. You are amazing. But as is the case with the Plumbrook Independent Living, most of the residents there are seniors, and we have many runs that are non-emergency runs to these facilities, and thus diverting our paramedic services to advanced life support runs across the city. So it's a real problem for us at these 27 or so facilities across the city. So we had to look at a way to create a deterrence, if you will, and to try to get these facilities to use their own staff and other resources for these non-emergency events, where they are able to use equipment and their own personnel to actually help their occupants that live there and pay a lot of money, and for which individuals are renting for that purpose, to have those services, to actually have them utilize their own resources. So the $800 fee is for that reason. Now, that is our cost of providing the service. We're hopeful that the centers will come up with other means. However, we'll always respond to the runs. Now, what's interesting is the centers, the 27 centers, we bill directly to the ownership. the centers should not be passing along the $800 fee to residents. Instead, good business practice would have them figuring out every year how many of those runs they have to pay for, whether it's 20 runs, 30 runs, and amortize those costs into their monthly charges for everyone, because it really is a service that they advertise anyhow. You rent your apartment knowing that that service is available, but then really it's not. The city has to do it. So that is the reason. There is an appeal process, by the way, too, that the city council approved. I don't know if it's applicable in your case, but you certainly, I'd be happy to take a look at that with you. But I would strongly urge you to meet with your management company there and the property owners and encourage them to do the right thing and not penalize individuals, but instead amortize that cost across their entire operations, just like they do with any normal operations, whether it's snow plowing, landscaping, general maintenance, and so on. They don't, if you have a unit that has lush landscaping, you don't pay a surcharge because of that. The maintenance for that particular area is amortized into the entire cost of the building. So that's the premise behind it. Now, let me close by just saying that the city is reviewing a less costly option for these disproportionate runs to these 27 facilities that I mentioned. So we are looking at deploying a basic life support unit instead of an advanced life support unit, with basic paramedics instead of sworn firefighters and paramedics that are very expensive. They do a great job, but they're very, very expensive. We need their skill set and talents for all the other emergencies across the city. So we're working with our partners at the fire union level, with the fire chief and his team, and other partners to figure out how to get this done. So that's the long response. And Mr. Nadolski, we will get the POW MIA flag replaced. I agree it needs to be done, and we'll do it in short order. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool. Mr. Koszewski, anything tonight?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Yanis.
Through the chair to city manager. Actually, this is very timely with Mr. Young coming here. Since we had received our strategic plan a couple of weeks ago, I was just wondering when you're going to schedule a presentation by the company that wrote the strategic plan for city council.
Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Yin, as we have had a number of presentations where we invited our city council and others to get a preview of the strategic plan. But if it's the council's desire that we present it publicly, we'd be happy to do that and get it scheduled for, the next 30 days or so, and check the consultant's availability. But that's certainly an option we can implement.
Well, I certainly believe that since they wrote it, I'd like to have them present it, because I and maybe some of my colleagues would have questions on some of the things that they put into this proposal. It is going to be, I'm assuming, going to be our strategic plan. And even though I've read the plan twice, I still, again, some of us still may have questions. And I would like to get their feedback as to why they made the suggestions that they did. So without objection, I would like to have that scheduled for them to appear in front of city council to go over the strategic plan.
And I'm happy to coordinate that.
Okay. And then,
Any objection? No objection? Okay.
very good. Thank you. Thank you. One other thing. So I received a phone call a couple weeks ago from a businessman here in Sterling Heights who has a business that's closed, and he had a code enforcement officer wanted to get inside his business, and he called me and asked me why a code enforcement officer was doing that. And I didn't have an answer for him, and I came across on the city's website, which, by the way, the new website looks great, the city website, the Elevate Sterling Heights program. So this appears that our code enforcement folks are reaching out to business owners and scheduling walkthroughs. Would that be correct?
Mr. Vanderpool?
Mr. Vanderpool?
Mayor, thank you. Councilman Yanes, yes, we're looking at all of our major commercial centers, and the focus is mainly exterior. We want to make sure that there's a good plan in place for businesses to comply with landscaping, as you know, parking lots that may be in disrepair, painting needs, and so on. And this is a very collaborative program where we're working hand in hand with the property owners just to make sure that they're in compliance with all of our property maintenance codes. So this is something we've talked about quite extensively at strategic planning the last year, and something that we've been able to implement this summer. It's in its very early stages.
Well, okay, very early stages. Can you give me an idea of when we started doing this program?
Councilman Yanes, approximately 60 days ago, but we've been, as I mentioned, we discussed it quite extensively at strategic planning last year, and we've been working with a marketing individual and trying to get everything in order so it's very seamless. And as you know, we have a very robust web page that explains the program in great detail. We sent out letters, and in almost all cases, when there's significant improvements that are needed, like parking lot repairs, we know that that's going to take 6 months, sometimes a year. You know, you have to plan for that, you have to budget for it, you have to get the work scheduled. Sometimes ordering is delayed. So as I mentioned earlier, it's very collaborative. We're patient with the program, but the main goal is to make sure that our commercial corridors are in compliance with our property maintenance code, and there's no major violations.
Okay, I appreciate that. But this gentleman wanted to get into this closed business. So I know you said exterior, but obviously interior seems to be an issue as well. And on the website is a commercial compliance inspection checklist, which calls for inspection of exterior, interior, safety, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, and fire. So is the code enforcement person going through this checklist, or is the business owner going through this checklist?
Councilman Yanes, it's collaborative. So we go through it with the property owner, hand in hand, and we work with them. We haven't had really any problems so far. Most businesses are very accustomed to inspections in any case, whether it be a code enforcement officer or a fire prevention officer. So most that are in business, whether it's a restaurant or some manufacturing site, they're very accustomed to these inspections. We've streamlined the process quite significantly.
But a code enforcement officer is not an inspector. So I'm wondering if they come across an electrical problem, a plumbing problem, a mechanical problem, are they engaging with our inspectors here in the city to let them know that they found a problem, and the inspectors are coming out to validate that the problem has either been taken care of or it needs to be taken care of? Are they working in conjunction with our inspectors or not?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's the whole point. Yes, they are out doing these inspections, and when they come across issues where they have been well-trained in what to look for, if they see any plumbing, electrical, or fire prevention issues, they're duly noted in their automated file, and those are passed along electronically to the respective inspector, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, or fire prevention, and then they will go back and do the more detailed, robust inspection. But this is also a way to improve and free up inspectors' time to focus on more substantive issues. For example, as you certainly know, in fire prevention, if our fire inspectors can focus on some of our larger manufacturing, areas that really need extensive inspections, then having them not have to go through these very minor inspections to see if exit signs are working or if, other, doors are not being blocked and so on. That frees up their time to focus on the more substantive things. So this is a holistic but cursory inspection when we go inside with our code officer.
And so you said that they've done training. Its program started about 60 days ago. What did that training look like? Who was doing the training? Were plumbing inspectors and electrical inspectors training the code enforcement folks, or what kind of training did they receive?
Well, as you know, we have a city development director who oversees the entire department, all those respective disciplines. We have the fire chief and the fire marshal. So we have the city attorney who's been involved in the process, our assistant city manager, and numerous. It was an extensive team effort in developing the program, in developing the checklist of items that they'd be looking for. Again, the primary focus is exterior, but they do go inside. So yes, the program is very extensive. There's a lot of time put in on it, and individuals from all those respective disciplines were involved in developing the program, the checklist, under the guidance of the city development director.
And are there any limitations, since they're not licensed inspectors, but they're code enforcement officers? If they go into a building, can they go anywhere they want to? What does the property owner, what are the property owner's rights? And who is advising them of those rights?
Mr. Koszewski, do you want to take that?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Yanez, so it's a voluntary program. If a code officer walks in and walks through and the owner's with them, they work with them and the owner together. If the owner says you can't come in or you can't go in the back, then we put it on a list and the fire marshal will go out to do an inspection.
Okay. And do the property owners know they can say no?
They're advised if they say they can't go back there, then we say thank you very much and we leave.
Well, who advises them?
The individual that's doing the inspection.
Okay, so that's part of their training? So when they show up,
They know
go,
that
you
if
don't have to let me in here?
they know if the individual does not let them back, that they cannot go back there.
Very good. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yanez. Council, anybody else?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt?
Just quickly, I just want to remind everyone that school is back in, so kids are walking crosswalks and getting on buses, and just be cognizant of those signs and lights on the school buses. Through the chair to Mr. Vanderpool, I'm wondering if we could put that public service, a link to that public service video that was done on school bus safety, maybe on our Facebook page or on a link on our homepage, just to get the word out. I know hopefully people aren't as distracted anymore with the new laws, but, the kids are out and about, and I'd like to see as many of them stay safe as possible. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Couldn't agree more. Sit at the bus stop every day. Drives me crazy. Can't believe it. Council, anyone else?
Hi, Mayor Taylor.
Mrs. Zarko.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I know that school's back in session, but still, there's people that still want to party this summer. So there's a food truck rally at Dodge Park this Friday night from 4 till 9. There's over 25 food trucks. I'm sure there'll be a DJ there. So if you still want to come out and have some fun, make it Dodge Park this Friday night.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, I do have one more question.
Okay.
If Mr. Nadolski would just stay after the meeting so he could talk to us, because his, if you're getting a flagpole installed, it's Rocket Enterprises, because I know that's who I use for my flagpole. And so I guess I would want to know how tall it is, because it was like 4 times as much as what I paid. The estimate that he's getting now is 4 times what I paid, so I'm sure that the height might have something to do with it as well. So if we could talk after the meeting, I'd appreciate it.
Council, anyone else? Going once, twice? Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day. Thank you for coming out. This meeting is adjourned.